You ever watch something and instantly think, yeah, this is exactly how everything went off the rails? Well, that's what we got today. So picture this. We're in divorce court, emotions already running high. And right in the middle of it all, we've got a woman who is about to remind everyone watching why some situations spiral way faster than they should. This whole clip actually comes from a channel called Law Talk with Mike. And honestly, the guy covers these kinds of courtroom disasters really well. If you're into watching situations like this unfold, he's definitely worth checking out after this. But for now, let's jump in because this one doesn't take long to get interesting.
Good morning. How are you all?
Morning, how are you?
Morning.
Are we waiting on anybody?
No.
Okay, what can I do to help you all today?
Yes, sir. Get us off of your docket is what you could do.
And then the judge leans forward and drops a line that immediately shifts the tone of the whole room, basically telling her, look, you are coming off this docket one way or another. I'm just not convinced it's going to be in your favor. Now, all that right there, that's not just a warning. That's the moment you realize things are already slipping out of her control. Because at this point, the judge isn't negotiating anymore. He's letting her know very clearly that whatever she thought was going to happen here isn't how this is about to play out. And you can almost feel it, that tension building, like this situation is about to go from bad to a whole lot worse.
Go ahead, Lacey. Start talking.
That's pretty specific. Ms. Kimball,
Yes, sir. Specific.
go ahead, Ms. Kimball.
A custody evaluation was completed, and so we have filed a motion for drug screening and a motion for a psychological exam based upon that custody evaluation recommendations.
Blah, 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 blah,
And,
blah.
And just like that, the tone sharpens even more. You got someone basically saying, yeah, go ahead, keep pushing it. Keep talking to the court like that. Because at this point, it's not just about a messy divorce anymore. Now we're getting into dangerous territory. What started as a civil case, paperwork, arguments, back and forth, can flip real fast into something way more serious, criminal contempt of court. And that's the part people don't seem to understand until it's too late. The court has limits, but once you cross that line, it's not a discussion anymore. It's consequences. So while she thinks she's standing her ground, what she's actually doing is digging herself deeper, one comment at a time. And you can feel it. This is the moment where everything could still calm down or completely blow up.
Talking, you'll be able to respond in just a second. Ms. Kimball, you can go ahead and finish, and then Ms. Stiles, you'll have an opportunity to respond in just a minute.
I need to pause the hearing. I don't have an attorney. Can you give me some time to get an attorney? I haven't had adequate time to obtain an attorney, and my attorney withdrawed, and I'm going to need one appointed by the state.
Then the judge hits her with something that feels less like a question and more like a reality check. He basically says, at this point, I can only imagine why your last lawyer walked away from this case. And that lands hard, because when a lawyer withdraws, it's usually not random. Something went wrong, and now it's starting to make a lot more sense to everyone in the room. But he doesn't stop there. He follows it up with another reminder that completely shuts down whatever she was hoping for. The court is not required, and flat out will not, assign her a free, court-appointed attorney for a divorce case. In other words, she's on her own. And that's a big turning point, because now, not only is she already clashing with the judge, she's doing it without legal backup. So instead of gaining control of the situation, she's actually losing more of it by the second. And you can feel the pressure building as things continue to spiral.
That's not an option. There's nothing there, unless someone's asking that someone be held in contempt and jailed, which is not something that's set in front of me, or it's a action by the state to terminate a parent's rights or something like that. Those are the only times I have the ability to appoint an attorney for you.
Okay, then go ahead.
We also had sent discovery out as laid out in our motion sometime back. I had worked with Ms. Stiles' prior counsel and had agreed to 2 extensions. And then ultimately never got a response, and she filed a motion for
She
protection.
got plenty of responses. Objection.
And then someone finally snaps. Not even trying to hide the frustration anymore, they basically shut her down mid-rant, telling her to stop talking and save it. Because here's the thing, there's a time and place to argue your side in court. There's a process. You raise objections, you speak when you're allowed, and you do it the right way. But this isn't it. Right now, all she's doing is interrupting, pushing boundaries, and making herself look worse by the second. And the real kicker? Even when her moment has come to speak, you get the feeling it's not going to go any better. If anything, it might just dig the hole even deeper. At this point, it's not about being heard anymore. It's about whether she's already done too much damage to recover.
How do I submit my documents to you directly?
Hold on. So, Ms. Kimball, are you saying this was something that happened between counsel?
Yes, back in November. We are now setting this hearing is for our motion.
She
to
also
compel
represents
the
Cody and
documents
all
turned over.
fucking sit there.
Okay. So, Ms. Stiles, I'll unmute you in just a second. You need to let Ms. Kimball finish what she's saying, and then when you're talking, she'll let you say what you're saying, unless one of you has an objection that is a legal objection. You can't just talk at the other side. So Ms. Kimball, why don't you just go ahead and finish telling me what, so you said that you're wanting a drug screen, so drug test, and do you say psychological or psychiatric? I thought you said
A psychological exam. And then we have a order to compel Ms. Stiles to turn over the responses to our discovery request, to provide dates for a deposition and for attorney's fees for $1,500.
All right, so Ms. Stiles, I'm sending you a prompt to unmute. If you just unmute yourself, you can respond. What is your response to those things? Let's go with the drug screening part. Do you have an objection to taking a drug test?
I'm not going to pay for it because I'll tell you up front I'll file for marijuana.
And then, out of nowhere, the whole situation takes a sharp turn. Someone stops and basically goes, "Wait, did you just admit to committing a crime? Right here? In front of a judge, for no reason." And that's the moment everything really shifts. Because up until now, this was already messy. Arguments, attitude, pushing the judge's patience. But this is on a completely different level. You can almost feel the room go quiet for a second. Because if that's actually what just happened, she didn't just lose control of the conversation. She may have just handed the court a brand new problem to deal with. And the worst part? Nobody forced her to say it. No pressure. No trick question, she just volunteered it. That's the kind of moment where things don't just go wrong, they spiral.
When was the last
But
time?
I'm happy to take it
Hold on.
on
When was the last
expense.
time you took marijuana?
I use marijuana daily. All day, every day. And it's legal in what states? California. So we can either get there or not get there. Your choice tonight.
And then comes the line that just seals it. Someone basically points it out like, "Look, I hate to break it to you, but take a second and look behind the judge." Because right there, hanging on the wall, is the state flag. Not California, Texas. And that changes everything. Because whatever she just casually admitted to, yeah, that might fly in some places. But not here. In Texas, that kind of thing isn't just frowned upon, it's illegal. And you can almost feel the realization creeping in that she didn't just say the wrong thing, she said it in the worst possible place. Wrong state, wrong court, worst timing imaginable. At this point, it's not even about the divorce anymore, it's about the mess she just created for herself.
So I'm glad to take the drug test.
Stop.
Okay, go. It's going to be on his expense,
Stop.
but I'm
Stop. I'm pretty low key. We're in court.
fed up with Miss Kimball.
You need to be respectful.
I'm
So
fed
you can just,
Kimball.
if you're gonna use
Respect-
my last name, that's
Okay.
fine. Just say Judge Tenig. Okay, it's pretty easy. So you use marijuana all day, every day.
Not really day every day, but I use it daily, if that helps you with your interpretations. Mr. Low-Key Honorable Judge tonight.
I'm not interpreting. I just said what you said.
Okay.
What is your response to the request for a psychological evaluation?
Not doing it, and you cannot force me to do it. You cannot physically make me go and show up and partake in anything that I do not want to partake in. Yes or no?
And now, it completely goes off the rails. Instead of calming things down, it turns into a full-on personal attack. Someone fires back, basically saying, "No, the court absolutely can require certain things if it relates to your divorce case." And then it gets even harsher. They start questioning her mental state. At this point, it's not even about legal arguments anymore, it's accusations. Saying she seems unstable, maybe even under the influence of something, and that of course someone would want a psychological evaluation after watching this behavior. And that's a brutal shift. Because once it gets to that level, you're not just arguing your case, you're defending your credibility as a person. And honestly, the way she's been acting up to now, it's not helping her case at all. If anything, it's giving everyone in that courtroom more reason to take those claims seriously. This is the point where things stop being messy and start becoming damaging in a way that's really hard to undo.
Do you agree or not agree?
You don't get to ask me questions right now. I'm asking
That's
your position.
That's my response to you.
Okay.
You will not get any. I'm not doing a psych eval, and you cannot make it mandatory.
Interesting. In terms of the motion to compel, where they're talking about discovery, what's your response to their motion to compel?
Have you read their discovery? When are you going to view my videos?
Ma'am, you need to answer my question.
I answered your goddamn question.
9. And at this point, any patience that was left is completely gone. Someone basically snaps and lays it out as bluntly as possible. You're going to answer that question one more time. No more arguing. No more dodging. Because the reality is simple. The person asking isn't just anyone, it's the judge. And that's the line she keeps refusing to recognize. This isn't a debate between equals. This isn't a back and forth where you get to talk over people and push your point. There's a structure, and she's completely ignoring it. So now, instead of being given room to speak, she's being forced to respond because the court isn't asking anymore, it's telling. And honestly, by the time it gets to this point, it's already gone too far. This isn't someone standing their ground. This is someone losing control of the situation in real time, and the consequences are catching up fast.
All right. So I'm going to warn you that it is completely inappropriate to swear like that in court. You need to take yourself, you need to put yourself back on camera. Thank you. I'm not going to allow that. So if you do that again, I'm going to sanction you $100 for every time that you swear in court, because that's not appropriate. You just need to not do it. You can answer the question and be respectful to Ms. Kimball and to the court. And I'm not going to tell you how to answer, but you can just say whether or not you're in agreement with something. In terms of the motion to compel, I haven't heard it yet. So I'm just trying to find out from a cursory standpoint what your position is on these 4 issues so that I can figure out if there are partial agreements or not. It sounds like there aren't. So based upon your response, I'm going to take it that you're not in agreement with their motion to compel. In terms of their request for deposition dates, what's your response to that? I sent you a prompt to unmute yourself.
What dates?
Ms. Kimball, do you have proposed dates?
I can. I would propose.
And whose expense? Mine? Because if it's mine, I'm not fucking doing it. Sanction, give me $100 fee. Woo
Okay,
woo.
well,
And then comes the part that feels less like an argument and more like a warning shot. The judge basically takes a step back, looks at everything she's been doing, and connects the dots out loud. He points to her behavior, the way she's been acting, Even the fact that she asked for a court-appointed attorney and says, in no uncertain terms, that it doesn't look like she's in a position to afford what's coming next. Because those little penalties, those sanctions, they add up fast. We're talking hundreds of dollars at a time, stacking on top of each other the longer this keeps going. And that's when he gives her one last piece of advice. Not even harsh, just real. Pull yourself together. Because if she doesn't, this court is going to run right over her without slowing down. And you can feel it. This is that final moment where she still has a chance to regain control. But based on everything we've seen so far, it's not looking good.
So I am finding you in direct contempt.
Okay, one fine.
Finding you $100.
Okay, make it two. Damn, I said 2 words.
Ma'am, I don't think you want to do this. At least the people in the courtroom seem to think you don't want to do this. I will, not because you're requesting it, but because you're not following the order. As I said, sanction you.
Please do.
Let me do it. So that's
Please.
$200.
Here, I'm sure she wants my apartment number, right? Turn it to Miss Kimball. You're gonna want.
Stop. That's not something that she asked for. Ms. Kimball, what date?
No,
What date?
everybody else.
I would propose August 30th or September 2nd.
Okay.
How long?
Are you wanting how long? That's a valid question. Is it half day, an hour, 2 hours? What do you anticipate?
I would anticipate a full day.
Okay.
So what, the
Ms.
30th or the 2nd?
Yep. Which of those dates works better for you, Ms. Stiles?
What time, dumbass? 3 contempts.
And now it just turns straight up brutal. At this point, any filter is completely gone. Someone fires back, basically saying, look, there's only one person here making a fool of themselves, and it's not anyone else on this call. And then they double down, pointing out how she keeps disappearing, turning her camera off, stepping away like she can just check out whenever things get uncomfortable, like that somehow helps her case. But instead, it's doing the exact opposite. It makes her look even less serious, even less in control, like she's not even able to handle the situation she's created. And honestly, that's the part that really drives it home. Because by now, it's not just about what she's saying anymore. It's about how she's acting. And every little thing she does, it just keeps reinforcing the same point. She's completely unraveling in front of everyone.
You're correct. That is 3.
Yep.
Supposed to start at 9 a.m.
What date?
So that question is to you. Never
I
mind.
said what
I'm not
time?
gonna let you
Time,
pick.
date, you know, these
I'm not gonna
things.
let you look. You don't get to do this for your own pocketbook. I'm muting you for. All right, I'm going to count that.
And somehow it still manages to get even more ridiculous. Someone jumps in with this sarcastic jab, basically saying, oh wow, that's adorable. She really thinks that's what the judge was asking. Completely twisting what was said, like she's not even following the conversation anymore. And that's the moment it really clicks. She's not just arguing, she's misunderstanding everything as it's happening, which makes it impossible to move forward. Because the judge is asking one thing, and she's responding to something completely different. And when it gets to that point, it's not just frustrating, it's a total breakdown in communication. At this stage, it's clear, she's not just losing the argument. She's lost track of the situation entirely.
As another violation. So in terms of the request for the deposition, she didn't have any objection. I'm going to note for my own record that she opted out after flipping me off.
And just like that, she's gone. No big comeback. No final argument. Just disappears. Which means, for the rest of the hearing, she's not even there to defend herself anymore. And the craziest part? The case doesn't stop. It keeps going for another 20 minutes without her. Let that sink in. All that arguing, all that pushing back, all that chaos. And in the end, she's not even around when it actually matters. That's the turning point right there. Because everything she did leading up to this moment, it didn't help her. It didn't strengthen her case. If anything, it made things worse. And then she just checks out. No control, no recovery, just consequences. And honestly, that's what makes this whole situation so wild to watch. Anyway, that's where this one ends. If you made it this far, you already know this was a perfect example of how quickly things can spiral when someone refuses to read the room. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like. If not, that's fair too. But either way, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss the next one.